Hello there, fellow GamerGaters. We are on air with Daddy Warpig. So, Warpig, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
I joined GamerGate by accident. I was on Twitter to post stuff from my blog. I started reading stuff about what was going on, so I really, really hate it when jagoffs in the media tell people what to do. The whole gamer thing, gamers are dead. Those articles just really pissed me off. So I started tweeting insults at various journalists and got blocked by a couple, and then got more and more involved and got more and more known by people in GamerGate, and it stopped being a hobby for me. So that's where we are now.
Okay, so you stopped being a hobby, so you're saying it just became like a passion?
Yeah,
or something?
I became a lot more committed to. I think the same thing happened to like Oliver Campbell and a couple of other people who are. The longer this goes on, the more abuse you see heaped on people by media outlets and people on Twitter, the more you. I mean, if you're a real human being, if you've got a heart at all, you just have to care that people are being abused like that for no good reason. I have a list, a Twitter list that has like 60 people on it. The more, either if they're not prominent, they're old, they're part of the original group, or they're prominent. And so I have seen most of the tweets they send for the last almost 3 months now. I think I have a really good grasp over who is in the pros side and what they say, what their personalities are, and it is unconscionable the amount of shit that the pros have gotten from the media, lie after lie, just piled up for no good reason, and it makes me mad. It makes me committed to doing what I can do to help out. My own personal background, I was a radio talk show host for 3 years. I was a newspaper columnist for 3 years, and life kind of had some other plans for a while. I've been designing a pen and paper role-playing game the last couple of years, but all that other stuff has been put on hold while I'm working with GamerGate, working with the pros, and I'm back doing, radio again, which is awesome.
That is awesome, man. So let me tell you, what did you think? There's something that I want to bring everybody's attention to. It kind of crossed earlier, mymediacritic.org, and I'm going to post that. I've already posted that in the low bar, and I'm going to post it over here in the chat. But basically, it is if you know about Ratemyprofessor.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, the premise is to do something like that for media sites like Kotaku and Rock Paper Shotgun. They want to create something that is modeled after Ratemyprofessor, but for games journalists. How do you think that would work out?
It's something that games journalists are going to hate. I mean, the last thing they want is people pointing out where they've been inaccurate or pointing. And I will say this, just to reveal my biases: the fact that games journalists will hate it because people are looking at them for stuff. I will love. I love that they hate it, that they will hate it, because no one who is used to getting away with what they've gotten away with likes having people pass judgment being rated for their actual performance. And these guys, they're just going to hate it.
Yeah, they're basically saying the one way that they're going to deal with this is it's not 100% like finished yet, but that is its end all goal. It says here is like what would be reviewable, and the site, if built, would allow almost the media to be reviewed. Right now, I'm thinking of the subjects would sites like IGN, The Escapist,
Right.
journalists, individual articles, and YouTuber personalities. These are the most obvious, so it's possible that there are things that I have missed. So it does look like it's a fairly straightforward type of plan to deal with media critics or media journalists. I thought that was just an interesting little thing to take a look at, because I mean it's the first real attempt that I've seen that really kind of encapsulates what we can do, not necessarily just what ought to be done. It's actually an attempt at doing something. And right now, I mean, I love hearing about things that ought to be done, but we really need to have like a game plan. This is the time where we need to have a game plan in place to start doing things. I mean, I really want to start hearing actual ideas about this kind of thing.
Let me say something on that.
Okay.
I think you're right. My first observation that I first made like a couple weeks ago was that if they were intending on either admitting fault or doing any real reform, most media outlets, I'll go as far as to say all media outlets, would have done something by now. I think the reform we have seen from Joystick, IGN, The Escapist, is pretty much the entire reform that major sites are willing to do at this point. And so if we are going to continue pressuring ethics in games journalism, we're going to have to do it with the knowledge that everybody else who was doing stuff wrong, who we know were corrupt, are not going to be involved in reforming until the personnel at that site are replaced or that site goes out of business. And so when you say, yeah, we need a plan, my response to that is, emails are the absolute, that's like the bedrock that we build on, but we do need to build stuff on top of that. And I see like Niche Gamer stepping up, and the other gaming magazine, Tech Raptor, and I see Jenny Barrage planning, Based Gamer, and then this site that you mentioned. Those are all people who are stepping up and starting to provide alternatives. And so my opinion about our mission is, yeah, you're right. We do need to start planning on top of that. And what we're doing right now is driving those unethical companies, putting a hurt on their business, and we're buying time for competitors to spring up and to get an audience, because it takes time to build an audience. You have to produce quality for a while. You have to have a record of producing good quality output so people, when they go there, know who you are and they know your reputation and stuff. And so we are buying them time to where the old giants aren't just going to steamroll them, and we're also buying them sort of headspace. We're giving gamers a chance to get to know them because they want to leave these big outlets that have dominated gaming media for so long.
Right. What you do have a very good point there, and what is an important thing to remember is that it's not enough just to be a part of GamerGate. If you have, like, say, a site, a new game review site, it's not enough just to say, "Hey, I'm pro GamerGate." That might give you a few cred points for a little bit, but you really do have to know what you're talking about in the long run. You have to have those ethical standpoints. And the thing is that it's not what you do when everyone is watching. It's what you're doing when nobody else can see what you're doing is when you're decided as ethical or not ethical. But yeah, if you want to go look at that in the low bar, it's oh crap, I don't forgot where it was, but it's in the low bar down there somewhere. Okay. What else did we have? Okay. Thunderfoot's video of Sarkeesian's master thesis. This was great. This was just awesome. If you want to take a look at that, it is also down there in the low bar. But I just thought some of these points were just really, really on par with everything that she's done so far. I mean, my head really doesn't wrap around exactly the level of stupid that is required to get a master's degree like this. Have you actually seen this video at all?
No. But I have seen other things that she has said.
Okay.
I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with her level of knowledge. I'm not impressed with her level of scholarship. I'm not impressed with her level of academic rigor. Especially when they're. This is the thing. If you're going to present your then the medium or the genre that you are critiquing. If you're going to come out and say, yes, I am a critic of fantasy novels, but you literally actually don't know who J.R.R. Tolkien was, then your opinion is irrelevant. You have no valid opinion because you don't know what the fantasy genre is. And Sarkeesian, I call her Sark because I like being rude to people who deserve it, and Macintosh, full Macintosh, neither of them have a thorough grounding in video games to where they can be I wouldn't even hold myself knowing enough about video games to be a competent critic about the 19 video games, especially on consoles and the PC, before I would even hope to do that job competently. And I'm better than them.
Right on. I actually did not get to finish this out. I thought it was an amazing video, and I actually think I'm going to try to play it here in the stream. Let me see if YouTube will let me. Okay. I hate the downloading app feature on here.
Yeah.
Okay, now while we're talking about that, something actually did just happen not more than an hour or so ago. We find out that the IGDA is actually using GamerGate auto blocker for their anti-harassment program. Really? I mean, really? This is Jesus Christ. I don't even. This is fucktarded.
GG Auto Blocker, in and of itself, wasn't even functional. FreeBSD Girl, her programming prowess was so weak, even though she harvested a bunch of names, it was non-functional. She had to piggyback on another Twitter program and just import her list into theirs. She's not a quality programmer. She's not a good programmer, and I've seen many of the developers who are involved in the pro side criticize her for that. She tries to, I mean, she puts the name of FreeBSD right in her username, and a lot of people don't know necessarily what that is, but BSD, Berkeley Standard Distribution of Linux, or Unix, excuse me. There were 3 versions: there were FreeBSD, OpenBSD, and NetBSD. They're all open source. They were open source before Linux or Linux got big, and so that's what name she's using. It's just an open source Unix clone. It's not anybody can use that in their name. It doesn't mean they're a good programmer. And so for them to take this list of names and use it as a recommended blacklist, these names, this is not part of the Blockbot. Blockbot, we inherited from Atheism Plus, and so it has a lot of people that ticked off, has a lot of people on the list who ticked off other people. It would be one thing would have the cover of being able to say, oh yeah, these people have been, harassers for a long time. They got reported several times. I mean, you'd be lying, but at least you could try to say that because they were reported by people long before the GamerGate hashtag was put to use by Adam Baldwin. But the GG Autoblocker list was not. It was intended solely to target GamerGate, and that is essentially, that's their official position. IGDA is, yeah, everybody in GamerGate is a harasser. Whether you are or not, doesn't matter who you are, you're a vicious, nasty harasser that people should never see on Twitter. And so that applies to me, that applies to people that applies to, inflammatory people who haven't necessarily done anything harassing, but definitely make the antis angry, like Roguestar. It's inanity.
Right. The thing about what happens here is that they, at least them as a group, as a whole, they put us together and say that you are a harasser. But the thing is that we are the group of people who were first initially pissed off when something was said about us from one person, or actually a group of people. But you cannot go as a single person and try to piss off an entire group of people and expect not to get a response from everybody in that group. That is their right to respond to you. And if you consider that harassment, consider to see what you consider gross violence.
I have seen the definition of harassment that the antis are using. Basically, anything you do is harassment. I mean, David Pacman apologized to Zoe Quinn, and people defending her jumped in and screamed at him because they said he was harassing her by saying, literally, I'm sorry if this upsets you. Oh my God, you're harassing her so much. And I'm reading his tweets, and I'm reading their tweets, and I felt like I had done some kind of drugs and nobody told me about it, that I had fallen into an alternate universe. Things were just so surreal. That's an apology, saying I'm sorry without being sarcastic, without qualifying it, without sticking any abuse on it. That's harassment? That's insane. That's not even just wrong. That's literally a disconnect between you and observable reality. When someone says, I'm sorry, like he did, that's not hostile at all, and claiming it is hostile demonstrates that you don't understand the real world. There's something really, actually, no shit wrong with you.
Exactly. There is something on some sort of level that does not actually click with them, and I think it actually stems from a broader issue. What that issue is, I have no idea, but it's not something that's part of insanity. You have what should be versus, and when you believe so wholeheartedly in something that's not exactly true, we call that madness. And it's not... struggling for words is actually a pain in the ass whenever you're doing these things.
Yeah, especially if you're doing something live. I empathize. Let me step in real quick. When you hate somebody, I mean, literally, actually, the emotion of hate, it distorts your perceptions of reality. It makes you, sooner or later, it makes you believe that they're evil and that they are omni-malevolent, that everything they do or think or say is in fact wrong or immoral or malicious or aimed at you personally or a group that you're a member of. And so a lot of the perceptions of and I'm not saying everyone who dislikes us as a group or the caricature that has been made of us by the media. Well, not even a caricature, that's too kind. But anyways, everyone who dislikes the pros isn't necessarily filled with hate, but quite a lot of them are, and quite a lot of the noisiest of them are. And that explains why when we get together voluntarily and don't really publicize it or talk about it, but give money to Toys for Tots, or give toys to Toys for Tots, or give money to a charity for autistic children, or support the Fine Young Capitalists or whatever. That's why when they see that, they say we're weaponizing charity. They think we're evil because, they hate the people in the pro side. They hate us as individuals, and so their own mind, their own emotions tells them we must be evil, because that's what hate does to you. It does that to everyone, in any human being, no matter who you are. If you let hate take you over like that, and I'm talking real hate, not disagree with my politics hate. There are people who I agree with their politics, but who I worry me because they're hateful people. And there are people whose politics I really disagree with. I think their politics are bad and wrong and destructive, but they're not hateful people. They're actually good, decent people. That's one of the things I've learned from being in the pros, being involved on Twitter, is I've learned that there's a lot of people who are genuinely good, decent people whose politics I really, really despise. It's been a very helpful experience. But it's the hate that makes you a bad person, not what church you go to, or what race you are, or what political party you vote for, or whether or not even you're pro or anti-GG. If you're a pro and you're hateful, that'll hurt you and hurt everybody else sooner or later. And if you're an anti but you're not hateful, then you can be a decent person, even though I disagree with you strongly.
Right. The issue that they take so much, they've got such an issue with, is the fact that we just plain disagree with them, and they believe so wholeheartedly that we have this strong hatred towards women. I don't get this. I don't see how a thinking person could look at the world today and really see not a dislike, not a disdain, not a mild uncomfortableness, but a persistent loathing of women just because they're women. You see, the definition, they like to play games with definitions. And I believe that we all know the definitions of which I'm talking about. Like, changing the definition of let's say, rape.
Or doxing.
Yeah. It's, that's the link I sent. Okay. So, give me a second. I'm not sure half of it, if half of it is what they've been spoon-fed, want to believe humanity, but it's not weird. It's not reality. You know the old adage, the truth is somewhere in the middle?
Yeah.
I don't think they see that. The truth is only on one side for them. And when you go and you start saying things like GamerGaters would need to suffer the same fate as those of the Holocaust, are you fucking insane? I wouldn't wish that kind of shit on my worst fucking enemy. I mean, seriously, I wouldn't, because I really think that Tate has no fucking idea what the Holocaust victims went through. Let me tell you. Go ahead.
I grew up in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
From the time I was 2 to the time I was 10, I lived in Germany. I've been to 2 concentration camps. So, I don't know. I think that actually going to a concentration camps gives you a visceral feel for some of these things that you don't maybe pick up growing in other places. it's chilling to have seen ovens that they used to burn the bodies of Jews alive, to literally have walked past the walls and the concrete and the ovens that the Nazis used to incinerate Jews, and then to come and find out from someone that they're wishing that entire group of people be sent back into those same ovens or into ovens much like them. It's really disturbing to me. I wasn't even offended. I was just so aghast, so stunned by what he said. I didn't have time to be offended because that's someone who has left all perceptible notion of morality behind.
I'm leaving this right now. I don't like this. No one has to.
What was that?
I have no idea. Someone joined the...
I have no idea either.
Yeah, well,
Not over here.
Darkstar, you tweeted me publicly the join link. You should DM that stuff.
Yeah, I think I boo-booed on that. I thought I was actually DMing you anyway.
But we got someone else that wants to come in.
Bring him in.
That's the tweet link in the chat. If you want to open it up and delete it, that's fine.
Okay.
But anyways, that's why Tate's rant didn't offend me as much as it just appalled me, is because that's a person who has lost grasp on the fundamentals of morality. I mean, I don't deny that that's evil, because obviously that is evil, but I think he lives in a world that may as well be a Warner Brothers cartoon, because the world he thinks he lives in bears as much resemblance to reality as a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Yeah, with that, I agree with you there. I don't believe he lives in reality, because even when you are insulting somebody, it's at least half expected to know the way in which you are insulting them.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about Holocaust victims,
yeah,
I think you need to really think about what you're actually saying when you say Holocaust. You're saying someone who was already sick, too sick to move, gets thrown into a fire alive. Basically, yeah, just getting burned alive, but not having the strength to fight back. Who were emaciated when they were rescued, if they were liberated at all, and many of them dying because they ate a little bit too much upon being rescued, and we hadn't figured that out yet. That is the kind of horror that you are actually talking about, and you are insulting a lot more than just one generation of people, and it speaks a lot about the severity of something when you insult somebody with an event that happened 3 generations ago. You're talking about something that severe. If you don't know what the fuck you're saying and how exactly you're offending somebody, you need to shut the fuck up. Sorry, that's my little rant right there.
Well, we got Mornblade in. Mornblade, you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, hello. Yeah, it's working now. Something happened there when I jumped in. All my screens paused and I couldn't hear anything. Sorry about that.
No, no, it's okay.
I'm just a guy. I've been in a few streams. Kind of. No, I don't want to plug, but I just DJ every Thursday night on a radio station, and that's about it. Got involved in GamerGate because I didn't like what they were saying about us, basically. Like all gamers were dead and they were this and that and the next thing, and from there I just got involved in the Twitters and stuff, and that's about it, really.
Hey, you're not DJ Elaskins, are you?
No, DJ Marnblade. It's the same name that I use it everywhere because I like getting my name out there, if you know what I'm saying.
I understand. Okay. So
No, I'm in the UK, so it's probably, I don't know what time it is over where you guys are, but I'm on every Thursday from 9 o'clock to, sorry I'm plugging here, but I'm on from 9 o'clock GMT to 1 a.m. GMT, so I don't know what time it is for you guys. I'm guessing it's not as late as that, so you probably miss it. Anyway, whatever, I tweet it out when I'm on, so, and it's just a DJ thing. It's not a, I mean, you can Skype in and stuff, but people usually don't. They just like me playing the tunes, and I just mix in the tunes. And
You ever talk about GamerGate?
no, but I would like to. It's just that no one seems to. I mean, I tweet it out and stuff, and I've got the facility for people to call in the Skype thing and everything, but people don't seem to bother. They just seem to not say anything. I don't get much feedback, so I'm guessing no feedback means a good thing, right? Because
Yeah, sometimes.
well, I mean, you can't. I get no feedback at all, so I don't get oh you're shite, you know. So it's not like I'm getting really bad feedback. I'm just getting none. So I'm guessing that it's fine. I did get in contact with King of Pole. I was going to have him on Thursday past there, yesterday. It would be yesterday. But he slept in, and so that didn't happen. But hopefully, if anyone wants to come on, all you need to do is direct message me on the Twitters, and we can get that set up if they want. So it's open for everyone. Sorry, I'm plugging.
No, sure. But I'll make sure to get your Twitter handle in the description after.
right on,
Okay,
right on.
I'll shut up now and let you guys get on with what you were doing.
Was there anything specific?
No, really. I just see the anti-GamerGate thing. I'm not sure if it's even a side. Although it feels like it is, but it might be because we're in the GamerGate. See what I'm saying? We're in GamerGate, so like the anti-GamerGate might not be a side. It might just be people kind of coming in and maybe not actually being a. Because how can you be intelligent, right, and be against ethics and journalism, no matter what journalism it is, games or not, you know? It just doesn't make sense to me. Can't figure out these people at all. Like, all we want is for people to say, look, this guy might be involved with this game, and if he is, disclose it if he's writing about it and giving it a score. I mean, how hard is that? It's like, my brain melts, man, telling you. Anyway, what do you guys think?
Well, I can talk. Other people seem to be thinking real quick. I had the editor-in-chief of PC Gamer magazine jump up out of the depths of Twitter last Friday and pick a fight with me. He didn't like one of the tweets.
Must be doing something right then.
Seriously. Editor-in-chief of PC Gamer magazine spent 4 hours off and on. It was not really a debate. It was him being kind of angry at what I had originally tweeted out. I couldn't believe it. I had to go back and double check to make sure it was him. So I went back to the PC Gamer website and then went into the editor-in-chief page and then clicked on the link that sent me to Twitter, and sure enough, it was actually really honest to God him. It wasn't a parody account or anything.
Okay, can you let us know what you originally tweeted? I might
Sure.
have missed that.
Do you remember Roguestar when he got banned? That was that Thursday. Thursday a week ago, and I was mad. I was really mad. I was madder than I'd been in years. And I was saying, I was describing how angry I was, and I said at one point, I am shank these fuckers mad. I am plotting and planning mad. I am mad enough to think every time I'm doing something to be thinking, what can I do to stop them? So that was the tweet. And it was the shank these fuckers mad line that he objected to. He intimated that I was making a literal threat against organizations, because I was talking about media organizations as the whole, not like individual people.
Yeah.
And the entirety of the argument, which was kind of aside from the point I wanted to make, but the entirety of the argument was him saying, you made threatening language, and me saying it's figurative language. How do you not know that as a...
To me, I would have took it no different than people saying burn Gawker to the ground. That doesn't mean you want to burn people alive that are in the building. It's a figurative way of saying you don't want them doing what they're doing anymore. You want them out of the industry or whatever.
It's like these people don't understand.
When a coach says to his team,
it's like people don't understand the human lexicon of like language. It's like,
well, I think they do understand it, and they understand it enough that they know they can use that shit against you.
Right. I was just saying it's like they do that because they totally ignore it.
Yeah.
But go ahead. What you're saying?
Anyways, that was the argument. Was me basically making fun of him for that. And at one point, after we both had a chance to cool off, I was getting upset. I had a couple of good friends jump in and tell me, you need to calm down. I had Steve Tom Sire, Review Mage, jumped in, and this is the day before he got assaulted. So the last thing I saw on Twitter was him saying, hey man, we care about you. You're getting close to the edge. You need to calm the hell down because you're starting to get really upset. And I had another person, Ashabanapal, also jump in and say, you need to calm down. So they both pulled me back from getting too angry. And I finally went back and I said, look, don't let my anger, don't let my words be an excuse for you not to do the right thing, because we both know what the right thing to do is. We both know bribery is wrong. We both know colluding to cover up the news is wrong. Why don't you just say so? Why don't you just say, yes, what my colleagues are doing is wrong? And he couldn't do it. He just couldn't bring himself to say, type, yes, bribery and collusion that my gaming media colleagues are involved in is wrong. I mean, he made like an offhanded remark. He said, well, why should I say it's wrong when it's objectively morally wrong and everyone knows it? I'm like, yes, exactly. That's the point. Everyone knows it's wrong, so why don't you just say so? So the point made by Mournblade was, you don't understand why people can't admit that such a simple thing is wrong. In his case, it was because he did not want to admit that his bad. He's been in this industry for maybe years, and he knows these people, and PC Gamer magazine hasn't been implicated in any of the actual corruption, but he knew what was going on. Anyone in this industry who was a journalist knew what was going on, and they all winked at it. They all just chose to ignore it. It's their friends, their colleagues, the people they get drinks with at cons, the people that they get jobs from or hire. They all know each other. They're all friends. They all work in the same industry, and they can't bring themselves to call out their friends for doing something wrong. So when you were asking why do people do this, that's one answer. It's because it's their friends on the line. They don't want to shit on their friends in public.
But like, it's just like, but it's so, like, you can prove it, right? It's like, it's so provable. How can you deny? You can't deny shit like that. It's like, fuck it, I'm caught. Fine, my friends were doing it. I tried to stay away from it, maybe, whatever. It's just, my God, guys, just fucking admit it. Say, we fucked up. It's not going to happen again.
Well, I think that's a big thing nowadays, is you do not want to admit defeat, or you do not want to give the other side a victory. It happens so much in war and politics, and I think they're teaching that shit in propaganda classes now or something, because nobody ever wants to give the other side an inch, even when they know they lost, even though when they know when they're wrong.
Right. Basically, because it means if you lose this battle, it means that all of your
It's not even
points are
losing.
invalid because
It's
that's the
just
way
giving the other side even an inch. Once, like, it's like you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile or whatever. That's their thinking.
think. You're right. If they say that if
We're losing you, Darkstar.
admit wrongdoing,
You're breaking up a bit.
basically means if they admit to wrongdoing that they have lost an entire argument and thing. Like all of their other points are invalid. That's the way that a lot of them think.
But that's the thing. It's not. It's just. I just want them to just go, okay, guys, man, you got us. We're a bunch of corrupt MOs, you know, motherfuckers, right? We're going to do better. You caught us at it. We're going to do our proper jobs. We're going to start doing this. And I think that's all that, well, most of GamerGate's asking for. And also, there's no kind of like, oh, the females have got bigger tits in this game than the other games, so I'll give them a bigger score. All we're asking for is is the gameplay good? Yes. Is the story good? Yes. Is the character got bigger tits in the other games? Maybe, who cares? Doesn't really matter because the gameplay's good or the story's good. You know what I'm saying? We don't want the other nonsense in there. We just want fucking. I'll get so frustrated at this. I know what we want.
To do their damn jobs.
I know what we want, right? And I'm with GamerGate on this. But it's just like they don't seem to fucking get it in their heads what we want. They just want to brand us, say, misogynist or evil or like whatever else crap they come up with. And it's quite easy to solve the problem. I mean, they don't need to go through all this. They don't need this to last 20 months or whatever the hell they're going to try and do. Because at the end of the day, it's just going to get worse because we've got proof that they're wrong. And it's maddening. It makes me mad, man. Do
you mind if I bring up a historical point?
Go ahead, man.
Okay, history. Back in the day, the king of rock and roll broadcast at a station that could literally reach around half the planet. They had such a powerful signal they could reach the entire hemisphere. Half the planet they could reach this one station. And they called it payola, right? Because in order to get played on the air, if you got played on this station, everybody could hear you anywhere in the hemisphere. And so in order to get on the air, they charged payola. You had to pay the station money to get your record played. People found out, people got upset, and laws were passed because it is wrong. It's corrupt. It's immoral. And this is not going to last 20 months because it's already getting notice in Washington. It's already getting notice at federal policing and enforcement agencies. And when the IGDA puts up the name of GM Shivers, who's a game developer, that is against the law. It's against antitrust law. It's anti-competitive. So that is an FTC violation. And these things, it's not going to go on that long because sooner or later, serious people in suits who can charge you millions of dollars for fucking up or who can make new laws to regulate your industry within an inch of your life, they will step in. The time to deal with this is when they're just negotiating with a bunch of dirty gamers, when they're just negotiating with people who like playing video games. Because if they put this off until the serious people, they're going to get screwed.
Well, I can also see us getting screwed too, or like anybody that critiques anybody online is going to be labeled as a harasser now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'm just like I was very leery about the mainstream media picking up GamerGate because I knew exactly what was going to happen because they're basically all very far left, almost to the point of being radical left. I'm scared of the government getting involved as well because they're going to make basically like what Wham is doing, legislation.
That's exactly the point that I wanted to get on. the legislation that they are taking right now in order to basically, define what harassment is, and to get online gaming to where you can't have anonymity.
Yeah, anonymity is something we need to protect online. And they should know this because of what happens when doxing goes on.
Yeah.
People should be able to air their critiques. Like, yes, there is already laws on the books for harassment, and they are pretty damn clear. And just spouting online that you're being harassed over and over, and other people parroting that, does not make it harassment.
Well, it gives what it can do, and I can see it from this point of view, is it gives the appearance of harassment because of the amount of people that had the same opinion. But when you look at it from the other perspective of you are the one person who insulted an entire group, it is now every single person in that group's time to give you their individual opinion.
Yeah, well, and if you don't want to hear it, then don't go on Twitter.
Exactly. It is called basically rights with responsibilities. You do not get it right.
I remember when blogging kind of first started, and people would put up a blog post, and there was no comments or nothing. You just put up your blog post, and people read it, and you didn't. Like if I wrote a blog post about a game or something, I would never get feedback because there was no comments on there, and I was never on Twitter, and I was never on any of these social media sites, so. Take it or leave it, and leave me the hell alone.
But this is like the broader issue that a lot of people are talking about. That GamerGate is a larger issue. They're talking about our free speech. They're talking about freedom of expression. They're talking about censoring that, and this is where a lot of us have known that GamerGate would come into a larger issue. They're actually trampling on not just gamers' freedom of expression and freedom of speech. They're actually trampling on everyone else.
Well, this has actually been happening in a long time. Go to fire.org and see what's been happening on universities and stuff.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, they might even be casual gamers. Like, I don't really consider myself a hardcore gamer. If you put like a scale of 1 to 10 where like 1 is extremely casual and 10 is like knowing every single person in the industry and every game that came out, like really hardcore gamer, I'd be somewhere around a 4 or a 5, right? But I could see this coming, this ideology creeping into gaming and a lot of other places, and the free speech stuff, like on universities and stuff, for a long time now. Like the left used to be about liberty and freedom of expression, and it's gone full circle to shut the fuck up. You're not allowed to do that.
You're not allowed to disagree with me. Shut the fuck up, yeah.
Or even put up something like a poster that states something that might hurt somebody's feels or make them feel unsafe. Like, that's crazy to feel unsafe because of a stupid poster.
I had that argument on Twitter. Someone said we want to come into gaming and you guys are using like faggot and rape and stuff over the mic, and I just said, but the way gamers use that as a phrase is, if we use rape, we mean we've got a better weapon than the other guy, so I'm going to rape you, right? It's not like rape as in like what they think it is. And the way I tried to explain it was, it's like when, I don't want to be racist, but it's like when black people use the N-word all the time to each other. It's kind of like the same kind of thing. It's like if you're coming from the outside, it's not the same as you coming from the inside, if you see what I'm saying. And it's like they're coming in and want to change our culture, man. It's like, you can't do that. You can't just come in and say, look, can't use these words because people might get offended by it. No, that's your problem. You know what I'm saying? It's your problem if you get offended by a gamer going, I'm going to rape you now because he's got a bigger weapon than you and he's got more stats or whatever, because you think that actually means or triggers you or whatever stupid nonsense they think it is. That's their problem. It's not ours, man. You just have to learn what we mean by that. And if you learn the context of what we mean by it, then why do you have a problem with it?
It's almost as if
had a conversation on Twitter about that, and they just said, well, that's your problem. I was like, no, you're the one that's wanting to come into our culture, so it's your problem, so you can just fuck off or make your own little hug box, because the internet allows you to do that. I mean, you can mute people, you can block people if you don't like what they're saying, you know. Don't come in and say we're all this and that and the next thing because you don't understand whatever vocabulary. Sorry, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think it's almost as if they want they're scared of being in a minority position of an opinion. That's why a poster can threaten them. Like if it's promoting a counter argument to whatever argument they want to push, oh God, that argument's going to get out to other people, and I'm going to be in a minority. It's like one of the few subjective scenarios I can understand from what they're actually getting at. If they're like, I'm scared of this poster, or this, it promotes an ideology not of my own.
I'm just looking at our Steam chat. We had a bit of a going on about what Mornblade was saying. We had a bit of a drama in our Steam chat this week, and one thing I do not want to do is make like a GamerGate Plus community. People shit post in our chat a lot, and basically the only thing I don't want is doxing, threats of violence, calls for organized harassing of people, or to, stuff on that nature. If somebody calls somebody a fag or a retard, I'm not going to threaten them or ban them or anything of that kind of nature. If you like, we had one person screen cap somebody calling somebody else, like calling them a retard, and basically it was 3 lines. It's not like the damn chat went on all day harassing this stupid guy. And our chat is pretty damn good at policing itself. We had another guy come in that did nothing but say, we need to remove this person from GamerGate. We need to remove this other person from GamerGate. And everybody in the chat's going, no, like, people are in GamerGate. They're allowed to be in GamerGate. You can follow them or not. This is not a forced community where you have to sign a bunch of rules to join, or you're going to get kicked out, sort of thing. That's retarded.
How do you exactly kick someone out of GamerGate? We don't have like open.
Well, we're supposed to. He wanted us to collectively denounce certain other people. I'm not going to mention any names, but
okay.
If you want to denounce somebody in GamerGate, that's fine, and I'm going to let you do that in our chat. But I do not like it when you just keep getting everybody saying this person needs to be pushed out of GamerGate, and he's calling for everybody in the chat or in our Steam group to collectively denounce this person to try and push them out. And that I don't really like. Like, we never banned him for it, but the group on a whole said basically, shut the fuck up, we're not going to do it. That's not what we're here. That's not what we're about.
Right. Schultz, how's it going, man? You with us?
You hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Pretty good. I was laughing when you were talking about on campuses how they don't want a difference in opinion. They're using censorship straight up for it. That's an understatement. There have been, my school alone, pretty much we, years ago, had a games club, and they disbanded it, and they were complaining that there was not enough female interest in it. And because it was not started by a female, they felt it was, whatever political lingo they used, but they felt it was not oppressive, but a non-positive.
Exclusionary?
Yes, thank you. Exclusionary and non-positive for female college students to play video games.
Well, I think it was just time would have done that. Time. It's you don't need to force people to make games in a certain way. You as games got better, it was going to include a lot more people as they went. Like when games first started, they were basically only young teenage boys were interested because that's the kind of thing they're into. Now they got video games for basically infants, and now they got video games for girls, and now they got video games for basically everybody. You don't need to force that onto the market. The market will see that there is a need for it or a want for it, and we can make money doing this because nobody else is doing it, and it would have happened.
Right.
They actually have games for animals too, which is just crazy.
Oh, I can see that. Like, if you want to test out
no, I have no problem with it. It's just
skills
weird.
for animals, like for chimpanzees or pigs or whatever, like to see how smart they are, or even dolphins or whatever. There is a lot of stuff you can do with computer games.
I see no problem with it. It's just weird. I just laugh when they talk about, when I hear this, the anti-GamerGate stuff, or, oh, not enough women here. It's like, or, oh, you're not appealing to us. Like, there's nothing stopping you. If you can make a video game for an animal, what's stopping anyone else?
The misogyny.
And you notice, this is an important point, I'll make this very, very quickly so other people can talk. You notice that the people complaining about not being able to break into the industry as far as the antis go, by and large are shit game designers. They're people who don't make good games, because the people who make legendary games, is it Jade Raymond? If I mess up that name, I'm so sorry. Worked on Ultima, worked on a bunch of other games. She's a legend. They're the ones saying, no, I don't have any problem getting in, and no one has a problem getting in if they're talented and if they're willing to work.
Yeah.
And you look like some of the stuff that the Literally Who's have produced, they are, and maybe it's not their fault, they just weren't born with the right talents to do it well, but at the same time, they're not doing it well. They don't have the right to have their crap pushed on other people because it's not very good.
Yeah, and it's coming to the point where even when you say something, if you do have minorities or women working in your company, you cannot critique them, because then it's just because they're a minority or a woman. So bosses are starting to get very worried about, and a lot of people have said, and honestly so, that it's actually, this kind of crap is actually going to hurt women and minorities getting into the industry.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Mostly with the idea of, if any new legislation is passed or any new mindset is like adopted, you're going to have a lot of people that have this idea of, well, did you get that far because of the fact that you are
one can't relate because you are.
Yeah, kick this guy out there, bud. Unless you invited him.
Nope. The
kick him out.
Yeah. Okay. Eject. There we go. Okay. So.
Did you delete that tweet? Where you put the address public?
Yeah. Let me go find it real quick. But it does hurt women in gaming for a lot of the part, because they get looked down upon of, are they really that good? Not that good, and they're just there because of some new SJW philosophy or litigation.
It's oh, this whole thing annoys me. It's like when they all go online or whatever, and the Sharkgate thing. It's like, this is why women aren't in this. No, it's not why women aren't in that. It's why you aren't in that, because you're some type of retard or something. And you see that this guy's shark's stopping you from doing science. It's not. It's because women don't like to do science as much as men, or some other reason, but it definitely isn't the reason you're putting it out there. And you're also anyone, a teenager or whatever, maybe wants to get into this stuff, is being pushed away because you are making all these stupid things in the media, telling them that if they go into this, you're going to be manhandled and raped or whatever nonsense that a teenager might think. The what was it? The cause? Male dominance or whatever it is. Males are always going to hate you if you go into that field. Can't go into that field, don't study it, because males are going to be oppressive and going to make you do this stuff and that. It's like, but can't you see that by putting that into the mainstream media, you're actually doing the opposite effect of what you're trying to achieve in the first place, because you're going to chase the actual women that want to do this stuff away from that industry because you're telling them that this industry is really bad. It's insane. Anyway, that's another point. I just need to jump in there and say, aye, it's messed up. I just don't get it, man.
If I could touch on another historical note real quick.
Go right ahead, man.
I don't want to talk everybody else if you've got... Okay. Lies have consequences. One of the things, we were talking about the Holocaust earlier because of Jordie Tate. One of the things that led up to the Holocaust was Europe's anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic culture, where for generations they just told lies about who the Jews were and the things they did. The Jews were usurious, and they stole people's money, and they did all kinds of unfair things to make themselves rich, and they destroyed society, and so on and so forth. And these lies, when they get told, people believe them. Children believe them, and when they grow up into adults, they believe them. And eventually that creates a toxic, or can create, if it's repeated often enough and enough people buy into it, it can create a very, very toxic atmosphere for the person you're lying against. And what Mornblade is saying is just right. It's not just that girls are going to be dissuaded from joining the industry, because who wants to join an industry where people will literally actually hate you and issue you death threats just because you're a woman? No one wants to do that, but also the next generation of kids who grows up and believes that will believe that either men or gamers or whatever literally are rapists and murderers, and like the guy who just published, I think it was in Slate, called people in the GamerGate pedophiles. All the people in GamerGate are now pedophiles. That's the newest label we got.
Was there any specific reason that we got that label? Because I didn't read that article.
He connected us to some of the stuff that's being published in anonymous boards on Infinite Chan. And I don't know what is being published on Infinite Chan, because I don't go there. But he claims that it's pedophilia material, that it's child pornography, and that therefore, because so many people in GamerGate are involved on Infinite Chan, that we're pedophiles, all of us.
Actually, I think they linked to 4chan.
Did they link it to 4chan? Okay.
GamerGaters left 4chan, and because we're banned, like they're banned. I'm not a channer really either, but yeah, they were linking to the pedophile board on 4chan, and GamerGate was banned from 4chan.
Well, oh.
We were too extreme for 4chan.
But 4chan. That's the thing. That's my whole point, man. It's like they don't even do proper. I mean, I always thought that journalists I always thought they'd done kind of some research, man. Like, I always, when I was reading something, I thought, okay, maybe they do some research and it's kind of thingy, and it might be a wee bit biased, so I'll go and read something else. But I never thought it was as bad as the way it is since I've got it in with GamerGate and stuff. Yeah, it's really, really bad. It's like it's I don't know, it's like you just make up shit from your own head and then just type it out and seemingly you're a fucking journalist, and it's really quite bad. And the whole thing's fucking messed up, man.
I was going to say
It puts all
is
that complaints about bloggers being inaccurate into...
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
That was it. That was the entire point I wanted to make. They complain about bloggers being half-assed inaccurate writers, and you're like, dude, I was in GamerGate.
I was going to say is most of the journalists don't even seem like journalists. They're more, as I was going to say, they're more bloggers than anything. There's no true investigative journalism. There's no looking at stuff. It's kind of just spewing stuff out to get a click.
I've actually read a lot of some of these articles, and it seems like everyone should be followed with, or it seems legit.
Mhm.
Yep, that's the thing, man, and it's really made me disappointed, man, because I always thought that there was actually... I mean, I did get a thing with the BBC. I did put it out on the GamerGate thing, and but to be honest, I sent them a complaint 2 weeks before they came back to me, and this was before they interviewed Sargon and all that. Their reply was actually quite fine. It was okay. It wasn't totally legit to what my complaint was, because it was 2 weeks later, and it was like, oh, but we've done this and done that and done this, and I was like, but my complaint was put in before you've done all this.
Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? It was like, oh, anyway, I'm really annoyed at everything right now, and I'm a bit drunk and stuff, and this whole thing, it opens my eyes to, well, I already knew the world was a piece of shit, but anyway, it opened my eyes even more, and I'm like, holy crap, it's getting really bad, man. Really, I'm disappointed in the world. Really am. Just disappointed. Just depressed, disappointed. I thought everyone was a bit better than this, but then we do have GamerGate, so that makes me feel a bit better. Anyway, I'll shut up.
Here's some.
I'm going to love yous and leave yous, cause it's like 4 in the morning here, and I'm going on a rant. So, going to love yous and leave yous. Thanks for the invite. Hope that I made
thanks for
some
coming
point. And stuff. So, anyway, I'm on the Twitters. You can my thingies, Twitter things, so you can post that, and anyone can get on my radio station on a Thursday and talk shit. Because that's whatever. Just talk stuff. I've got the Skype thing. Just DM me, and you can get on that if you want. Have a wee plug there, because well.
Yep. I'll put your info in the low bar after.
Alright, cool. And I'll love yous and leave yous. And I'm going to go and watch a movie and drink the rest of my pint and then go to bed. Good night, guys.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
I love that guy. He's awesome.
I'm trying to count the number of game developers involved in GamerGate who have a complaint. I mean, GM Shivers, Pixel Metal, Ollie, Rogue Star, and those are just the ones that I read on a regular basis. I'm sure there's lots more. Xenio Games, and they all now have legal complaints against the IGDA. The hell were they thinking?
Yeah, we were just talking about that in our Steam group chat too as well. I suggested that all the devs get together and make a class action suit. Like, I'm no lawyer and I'm not sure how all that stuff works, but from what I heard from what class actions do, it's just that they all get together and do the one suit at once. Everybody does it.
Mm-hmm. Anybody hear about Author Chu losing Jeopardy? That made my day.
What, he was on Jeopardy again?
Yeah, he was on the championship version of Jeopardy, and he lost.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to game shows or basically any TV for that matter.
Oh, I didn't pay attention to it either. It just ran across my Twitter.
Yeah, I saw a reference to it, like an offhand reference.
Ow. Did anybody see
what happens in that guy's personal life? Like, who cares, really?
the Pacman's video of will everyone hate this video?
Oh yeah.
I did not really like. Is that the one where he went on about so much other stuff is important?
Mhm.
Yes, that is exactly what I was about to reference.
Yeah, I left a comment under the GamerGaters account saying that, like, point me to another story that you did, because he does all kinds of stories that are kind of fluff bullshit pieces. And when has he ever show me one where he's ever said that this story is nowhere near as he was just getting sick of all the how much people care about this and how many people emailed them or Twittered them and he doesn't seem to understand, because like it is a huge industry, for Christ's sakes, and this is a passionate hobby for a lot of people, and they don't get it. These press people don't get it that we care more about video games because we spend a lot more of our time doing it than we do watching stupid politics of a red shirt or a blue shirt getting in doing the same fucking shit no matter what color shirt they are wearing.
Right. They also don't, at least Pacman didn't quite grasp the bigger importance that GamerGate actually has as well. Not only that, but everything that he talked about, you could sit there and say the same thing about any other subject.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
He actually mentioned, oh God, what was the one that stuck out? Oh yeah, the Christian thing in textbooks. You know what? Okay, great. If that's important to you, fine, float your fucking boat. But do you know what? There are starving children in fucking Africa.
Yeah.
There's always something more important. And so to say what he said was just retarded. I didn't care about anything else. I mean, if he was like on anti-GamerGate, whatever, fine. Pro-GamerGate, whatever, fine. But to sit there and like say, okay, this was his I give up speech.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. It was hey, leave me the fuck alone already, will you?
He kicked the hornet's nest, and he's kind of like, oh fuck.
So yeah. Oh, what else did we have?
Well, I actually don't blame him for doing it, because I mean, if he's getting quote unquote harassment or problems from it and just being accused, he kind of wants to give the illusion that he's impartial the whole entire time. In reality,
we did find him pretty impartial.
Well, there's enough times like I think he was realizing that it was enough shit, because was it Brianna Wu that was accusing him that, oh, you're being aggressive, or was that someone else I'm thinking?
No, that was Wu.
Yeah,
accused him of doing a hit piece on her.
Yeah, it was like, and I think he was just like, crap, I'm dealing with an idiot over here, and he just doesn't want to.
Yeah, and then after that was the Zoe crap, where he asked for an interview publicly, and she said no, and then all of a sudden he's responsible for harassment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and open forum, and he's like, how did I harass you?
Yeah.
Just I liked the guy, don't get me wrong, but man,
I liked all his videos. I liked the pro and anti ones. He asked some good questions to everybody. Just that last one, where he went on and on and on. Okay, buddy, say your piece and get on with it. I say that in our chat too quite a bit. You know, like when people just rant the same thing over and over and over again for an hour. You know, I tell them to shut the fuck up. Okay, we've heard you.
Oh. Was there anything else that happened this week that I may not be aware of?
One Angry Gamer is the site that I'm paying attention to quite a bit. William Usher.
I think I heard about this. Go ahead, though.
I've been putting him in our Google Plus feed, his last couple articles. His last one is called, I'll put the link in our chat.
How consumers are influencing culture battle?
GamerGate, Ben Kuchera, and the life and nepotism of Game Journal pros. I think that just came out today or late last night or something.
Okay.
One sec. I'll get it in the. Do you know how to bring them up?
I don't think I've got the plugin installed just yet.
It's the green button. I don't think that's a plugin. That comes with it. Screen share.
Screen share. Okay.
Yeah, click on that link I just sent in the chat there, and then go to screen share and pick that window, and then hit present to everyone, because if you don't hit present to everyone, it'll just come up when you talk instead of the dog with the gate icon.
Right. Let me get this. Okay, the one angry gamer. There we go. Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, you got the window. You're showing your whole desktop. You just want to show your browser. Like when you click the green button, you got a different bunch of windows to pick from, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find which one it actually is. Ben Kachar, okay.
Yeah, all I'm seeing is black screen now.
You're not seeing this right here?
I see your mouse moving around, but all I see is a black screen. I don't know. What about you guys?
Yeah, just a black
I don't
screen.
even see that.
I can't.
Okay, well, just forget it. But anyway, everybody should check out that One Angry Gamer, William Usher's articles. He also did another one a day or 2 days ago called. Hang on, let me bring it up. The one about the Senate. GamerGate interest groups want to take online harassment to the Senate, and it's definitely a good. And one other thing I really liked about it, if you go here, he used a wallpaper picture that I made for our GamerGaters group. So many tabs. Nuclear explosion in the background with everybody cheering. Vivian James and Corporal Cynic's dog. I think it's Corporal Cynic.
Something that says it didn't have to be like this.
But 2 very good articles, and I'm going to start following his like I've always checked him out before, but he seems to be posting pretty regular now, and I really like his writing. I can hear you breathing. Somebody.
Oh, let's see. Let me flip back to Monday. Things that happened this week. Ryu Long got laid off from Wikipedia. He got his editorship privileges revoked, and he was quite upset about that.
Yeah. Can you let us know who he is? A lot of people don't follow Wikipedia that much, like what goes on behind the scenes.
The Wikipedia page on the GamerGate controversy has long been 100% reflective of the anti-position that were harassers and things like that. It doesn't or didn't cite the Game Journal Pro's emails that were released and a whole lot of other information that's factual, incontroversial information that's out there. The reason why was because they had this one obsessed or obsessive Auntie who was an editor who basically locked down that page and was engaged in edit wars with everyone, kept on reverting things that weren't anti-material, anti-point of view, challenged everything that was pro, and kept that entire article reflecting a very negative view of the entire situation, where anti-claims were treated absolutely credulously. He just listened and believed and reported it. And anything that would support the pro side was censored. So there has been some controversy about that, and he has not been kind in mocking pros for his power. Me and Smirky about the fact that he had power in Wikipedia and we didn't.
So where is he doing this? Like on Twitter or in the talk pages or?
Yeah, both. He in talk pages and other things, he would say, okay, this rule says this, and that's the way it's going to be, and people would complain and say, no, that's not actually true, this is not an unbiased source, and they wouldn't get anywhere because he had the power and they didn't.
Wasn't this sent up to arbitration?
Go ahead. No.
No, I was asking, wasn't this set up for arbitration?
Yeah, exactly. What happened was Jimmy Wales came in, and somebody had gotten a hold of him, I believe, on Twitter, and said, "Hey, this is bad stuff. It's going down." He didn't really know about GamerGate. He hadn't been really paying attention, and so he said, "Well, okay, what do you want me to look at?" And so some pros sent him links to the Breitbart.com articles where Milo Yiannopoulos had discovered the Game Journal Pros emails and published excerpts from them. And Jimmy Wales, who founded Wikipedia, who is still, the head man, still runs the foundation, went and looked at the emails themselves and made an official policy statement for Wikipedia saying, this is, on its face, these emails prove collusion because they are literally of one group of journalists colluding with each other. That's not disputable. That's simply factual. That's the way it is. So that was Wikipedia's official position on just that little section. Finally, they threw the whole page into arbitration, which I don't know exactly what it involves, but it's basically a shit-flinging fest behind the scenes, out of public view, where people can say, okay, here's how you're screwing up, okay, do we official position, and the upshot of that is that this auntie, who had been so busily biased against anyone saying anything about ethics or journalistic malfeasance, got his ass kicked off, and then just early this morning, went on a rant against Jimmy Wales. So that was also interesting.
Nice. It's good to see we can have a little bit of faith in Wikipedia. Like, I don't put much faith into Wikipedia, but there's way too much shit going on behind the scenes for my liking.
I'm just trying to think of news stories to cover while you're trying to fix trying to set up the screen share. So, if anybody else has anything,
I think you gave up on that.
Yeah, we gave up.
I'll grab something else. See if I can grab. Earlier on Monday, Alexander Hinckley, who is a pro, who posts occasionally, or at least I see his posts occasionally, he got fired from the website Star City Games, and that was, let me pull up the thing. Somebody went in on his because he's a pro, and it's known that he's a pro, and it's known he writes for Star City Games. He's not an anon. He has a public account, a public Twitter account. This is one of the dangers of being public if you're in the pros. One of the aunties went back and combed through his Twitter feed, found one instance of him joking around with a friend who was playing a game, and he called his friend a faggot for playing that game. And because he called his friend a faggot, they took him to Star City Games, and he got fired off that website for that. That was it entirely. In one tweet to a friend, he used the word faggot once, and for that they fired him.
Yeah, I can't understand the position that these other game media sites are holding to protect these other journalists so badly. That makes to me look like that the people that hire these people are the ones that want these messages out. And they're saying, no freaking way we're firing these people for saying what we told them to say.
Yeah. Jordy Tate, Insanitate, the Holocaust, who did the Nazi murder death rant. That's just my phrase, sorry. He also worked for Star City Games. What triggered his Nazi murder death rant was he thought that they had fired him or had taken down his articles, so he did a big rant. They said he wasn't fired, but at the same time they let Alexander Hinckley go, they also let Jordy Tate go. Or at least that is the information Tate gave out on Monday. It shows how absolutely psychotically committed some people are to ruining the lives of anyone involved in the pro side. They don't even care what the facts are or what you have done or are alleged to have done. They hate you just for opposing them, and they will do whatever they can, no matter how insane or obsessive, to destroy your life. It's worrying.
Yeah. Well, yes, it's cult mentality we're dealing with here, and a lot of projection. I see a lot of racism coming from them, and they project that onto us. I see a lot of misandry on projected from them, or like from them, and they call us misogynists. And I can go on and on and on. It's basically whatever they label us. It's basically them projecting it.
Yeah,
it's very interesting when you talk about things like that, and the fact that you need to ask. So if you want to ask, or you want to find out who exactly, what kind of person you're talking to, you can ask that person, how would a person go about voicing their disagreement with your opinion by your standards? Because by any other standard that you're talking about, they are harassing you. So what is a method of disagreeing with you that is not harassment? That's one of the questions I want to answer.
That depends on whether I know somebody or not. Like if I know you and I'm critiquing you, I might be a little more candid in my speech. If I don't know you, then it's more, I keep it a lot more of a professional level sort of thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Right, I understand that, but when I'm talking about, like, say, Anita Sarkeesian. What would be her definition of someone that is not harassing her, but is disagreeing with her opinion? Is there a way to disagree with her standpoint without being considered a harasser?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I've seen like Brianna Wu snap at someone and say, "You're a man, you don't get to ask me questions. Just because you're a man, you can never ask me questions. It's harassment."
That's misandry.
But it's just not.
Okay.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying it's not a reasonable standard to put forth into the public sphere that any woman engaged in business or engaged in public discourse, no man can ever ask her a question, or it's immoral or wrong or harassment or
because we're privileged. We don't understand where she's coming from.
It's just not. It's not workable. You can't have a functioning society that has that as a guideline. That can't be a law. Or, I mean, can you imagine a doctor not being able to ask a fellow physician, "What do you think about this?" or "Why are you doing that?" or anything? I mean, it's impossible. It's just not a standard that can be applied anywhere. And so, by her claiming it's a standard, it shows how disassociated from reality she is.
Right, and so what's even worse than that is if you have a male lawyer and a female defendant. I can't ask her questions, or a male doctor and a female patient. That's not going to go very far. I mean, yeah, that type of ideology just, it falls flat on its face. And I think maybe it's just her. It's like, oh, you don't have the right to ask me a question because I'm Brianna fucking Wu.
Yeah. I get the feeling a lot of times she's avoiding it.
Avoiding what?
Questions, anything. I mean, she gets angry at questions, and so she's trying to come up with reasons why she can avoid them. So she'll accuse you of sexism, or accuse you of a hit piece, or accuse you of...
yeah, that's pretty regular.
It's not that she has some kind of thought behind it. She's just trying to avoid the question.
I don't think she's actually not even just that, but used to anyone criticizing her, period. That's why she gets so... It's like most of the journalists, when you see them getting questioned or someone questions what their opinion on a game or not, they get hostile. Their whole world is insular like a bubble. And the internet's kind of made it clear that you can keep that for only so long, and that there's going to be enough people, what they call quote unquote harassment, is people saying, "Hey, you're ignoring us. What the fuck? Quit. If you're making these comments, you gotta be willing to defend them."
Yep, that's a lot of where free speech and responsibility comes from.
Which they don't understand, though.
No TV.
Or they're willing to ignore. If they do understand it, but they're willingly ignoring it. It's probably...
It's give me rights. It's give me rights, but I owe you nothing in return.
Nothing.
I think it goes beyond rights.
Well, true, it does, but for the basis of understanding. The Rebuild Initiative, what do you guys think about that?
The what?
The Rebuild Initiative.
Yeah, I'm not even sure I've heard of that one. I've been kind of out of the loop this week.
Okay, it's basically letters to devs from GamerGate, talking about like encouragement and telling them why you feel the way that you feel and how that they're supported. Anti-GamerGate is basically threatening their jobs for the most part. But
I've been doing that since before GamerGate.
Well, that is in a nutshell.
That's a damn good idea.
I just have to wonder, like, what would it resolve? It's like if I look at myself as a developer, and I say, okay, well, thank you for your support, but that doesn't land me a job. I mean, what else?
You're talking about.
Do I'm not being critical of it. I'm just.
I've always engaged with a few developers that are already in the industry, and behind the scenes, they might not tell you that these ideologues are mass emailing and twittering complaints about the woman's breasts are too big in this stupid thing. And it's always good to get an email from a bunch of people saying, don't listen to these whacked out people that don't even play your game. We're the ones you should be listening to, but a lot of people don't, because they don't. Developers will not put that out into the public sphere typically, that they are getting mass emails, complaints from these people. And a lot of gamers are apathetic to it. They only complain after the game is out about the changes and stuff.
Right.
Not near as many people are involved in the development stage. Like I like a lot with what's going on with what's his name? Devra, or what's his name?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure.
The Eastern European developer.
Yeah. Like the more people need to get involved in, like what he said, that people are involved from the alpha, the beta, and they get a lot of encouragement of what they're doing and critiquing, but not on the terms that it's on ideology. It's on the terms of, is this good or is this bad, or do you like this part in the game, or should we expand on this, or
Right. Basically encouraging them along the way to keep doing what they're doing and not succumb to social justice warrior manipulation type stuff.
Yeah. Even after the game comes out, send them something that not just that the game is good, but don't succumb. That's basically what anytime I talk to a developer, I say, please, please, please do not listen to these social justice warrior types that chances are do not even play your game.
Right, exactly. Another thing I wanted to talk about was I was actually in a stream not too long ago with an anti-GamerGater, and every time he would say something along the lines of GamerGate is not and GamerGate doesn't realize why nobody likes it, or some shit like that. It's usually saying the same thing over and over. And what I've learned from this guy is that for all the people that want to have an open dialogue with anti-GamerGate, this is what a dialogue looks like. Do what we say, believe what we believe, and then we might accept you back into the group.
Yeah.
Cult.
Yeah, very much a cult.
It is not an open dialogue. It's just shut up, listen to what I have to say, and then do it. That's not a debate. That is not a dialogue. That is not a compromise.
Well,
if we actually had a compromise, none of us would walk away happy. That's the best compromise.
And the thing is, you're right. All of that point is right, but the other thing is, it's a lie because they don't really mean it. They do not mean that if you bow down and kiss our feet, that we will let you in and everything will be fine again. If you want to think of that, just look at what happened to Moot over at 4chan. I mean, he basically did everything they asked. He started censoring his whole board according to what they lost a bunch of users who fled to Twitter and fled to Infinite Chan, and he is still their whipping boy. Every single time, sure, they'll say something like, "Oh yeah, you're too extreme for 4chan," but the very instant they need to smear GamerGate with something, they will start portraying 4chan as the pit of evil. And so he got precisely nothing for that deal except a new bunch of censors controlling his board.
Oh, that's just his penance.
They will not accept surrender. If you have opposed them, you are banned and cast out and anathema forever. And you might as well just accept it.
They're basically like terrorists. Once you give in to anything, then they know you're controllable, and they will hound you and hound you and hound you.
I mean,
the best thing to do, I think Sargon said this a long time ago. It might have even been before GamerGate. The best thing to do is just to tell them to fuck off right from day one.
Yeah.
And I've also had the idea that we need to. I've not been as staunch as some other people, saying we need to protect the identity or protect the image of GamerGate. Basically, all I give a shit about is, are you really, by my definition, harassing somebody? And that's what I've always cared about for the most part. I had a little bit more of a definition than that. But now, aside from that definition, I honestly no longer give a fuck. I don't care what GamerGate's image is any longer. It's gotten to the point where it doesn't matter what our image is. They're just adding goals. They're like, if we can get them to pull off enough goals, they'll basically just be us.
I think we can't just throw our hands up in the air and just start harassing everybody.
No, but by no means.
Just because we're being called harassers doesn't mean we actually go out and engage in harassment.
No,
I think what he's saying is you don't have. Once they've called you a rapist, once they've called you a pedophile, once they've called you a murderer or a would-be murderer, once they've called you a school shooter, there's nothing else they can do to you. They can't call you anything worse because those are literally the absolute worst things in Western culture. There is nothing lower than a pedophile in Western culture. They've called us everything they can. They've tarred and feathered us with everything they can, so you don't have to give a shit anymore about what they think. You don't have to be always trying to mince and prance around them and beg them to be nice or beg them to think of you as a human being. They already think you're scum. They're always going to think you're scum, and you just accept it and act accordingly. Ignore them when you can, and if you can't, just know you're dealing with people who hate you deep down inside, and stop worrying about whether you make them feel good. Stop worrying about whether you try to convince them,
yeah,
I'm a nice
I've
human
never
being.
been one to try and make them feel good or try to be politically correct around these type of people.
I mean, if I put
so much is what I'm saying.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, it's so much of what I'm saying is I'm tired of trying to format my dialogue with anti-GamerGate in such a way where it can't be considered offensive. If it's offensive, I don't care anymore. I'm not going to harass you. I'm going to make my point quickly and get the fuck out. But I am tired. I'm tired of worrying about your feels. I don't care. I'm going to say exactly what the hell I mean to say, and that's it. I'm done.
Yeah, I typically don't engage with anti at all. For a while there, I was just going and checking them out a lot and screen capping their stupid ass tweets just to show, because basically all you have to do is show people on the fence what these people are really like that we're trying to fight against. You don't have to engage them at all. You just have to take a screen cap of what they say and show it to everybody and go, look at this idiot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Roadstar was actually saying something about that.
I've just been on the organizing side, basically. With the G+ page, the Steam group. I I try and I don't even try and kind of guide people. You know, like I have my opinions and they're there, but I welcome everybody's opinions. And I welcome shit posting or whatever. Like I said, there's only the couple rules about calling for violence or shit like that. But I like this, like our G Plus page. It's going up to 200,000 views, probably tomorrow, which is good. So the message is getting out there. We're at 190,000 views now, and we get about 8,000 daily.
Is that the web page for the GamerGaters?
Yeah, well, it's the G Plus page for GamerGaters. It's the same account as the YouTube. I'll put a link up in the chat box.
Okay. Anybody see the newest video from C.F. Summers? Based Mom.
Which one was that? She puts them out pretty regular. I've seen one about a week ago.
If I can't remember.
About the walking girl with the mics?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
What did you think about it?
Well, I thought it was great, as always. You know, you can't argue with facts and logic.
Yes, you can. My feels say different.
She should put at the beginning of all her videos, trigger warning comes with facts and logic.
The kryptonite of an SJW. Oh yeah, and the same guy that I was talking to, he was like, "There's no such thing as an SJW, and there's no collusion in the media." I think some of you might know who I'm talking about, but when I heard there's no collusion in the media, I wanted to ask him, does he know anything about this country called America?
Yeah.
And if he's never heard of corruption in the media, he's never heard of America. How does someone get this stupid? This is like on the negative spectrum of IQ level. It's like the dumbest people in the world are calling you a retard. Lemmings are looking at you and saying, oh, God, worship me.
Look at the education. Look how they learn. Look how they're taught. They're not taught to think.
Well, look at them. Just like that. I said lemmings, but if Anita Sarkeesian said jump off a cliff, otherwise you're a misogynist,
she'd get a full moon from me.
You'd see like mass suicide over like Niagara Falls.
Well, they might be thinning out the herd. It might be a good idea.
I do not condone suicide or mass suicide of any type.
Neither do I, but...
No, that's just a disclaimer for the video. There you go.
Well, still, but I'm going to say it for myself so I don't get...
Yeah.
And
well,
this,
I think I'm chatting out, guys.
All right, man. We'll see you later.
This one with tonight. Good
all
chat.
Right, man,
nice to meet you.
Yeah, have a good one.
I'm gonna have to go pretty quick too.
All right, man. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and close it down for the night. We've already been going for about almost 2 hours now.
Okie dokie.
Do you mind if I plug real quick?
Yeah, go right ahead, man.
Okay. My Twitter handle is @daddy_warpig. I blog at Daddy Warpig's House of Geekery. It's daddywarpig.com. And if you do a search for my name, I do a daily news and commentary about generally GamerGate right now. It's the Kick-Ass Geek Cast. Every Monday through Friday, it's a half-hour show where you can sign in, get the news and commentary very, very condensed of what happened that day in GamerGate. So any one of those three places, the Kick-Ass Geekcast, Daddy Warpig's House of Geekery, or just follow me on Twitter @daddy_warpig, and I am on Twitter most of the time.
Awesome, man. It was great to have you. Come back soon, man.
Yeah, I'm glad I could sit in. You guys have a good night.
All right, you too. Well, to the rest of you, we really appreciate you having us in this little corner of the internet hell that we exist in. Be sure to follow us next week at the same time. And this is Darkstar. Schultz, do you got anything to plug? I guess not.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say sorry.
Oh, okay.
My mic goes in and out sometimes, but no, I am at Sergeant Schultz Brigade on YouTube and Twitter at Schultz Brigade. I was been sick, that's why I've been off, and I've been trying to get going on a talk for dealing with the actual talking about characters, what makes them good, regardless of gender and whatnot, and more of a kind of a pro-male characteristic in them.
Okay.
Okay, thank you guys.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on, and we will see you guys later. This is Darkstar over and out.